Hey everybody, this is Kara Crossway Brindle. Welcome back to another episode of the Pivoting Practice. This video series is all about pivoting in your practice to move from direct mental health to other things. Maybe you're fighting burnout, you want to diversify your income, or frankly, you might be fighting boredom. Today I have special guest Laura with us today, and she's going to talk about her pivot into digital mental health. Laura, thanks for being here.
For having me.
Absolutely. So share with everyone what you're up to, because I know all of the people I've had on the series are doing lots of cool projects.
Yeah, absolutely. So I currently work full-time for a digital mental health company. And because I had previously had a private practice for a few years, I still have aspects of it happening now. And so in addition to kind of the full-time gig, I am doing a lot of clinical supervision and occasional things like speaking engagements and presenting trainings to professionals at various organizations and other places.
Nice. So you're not bored at all, is what you're telling me.
Not bored at all.
I love it. This is why this has been such a fun series to create. Is everyone's
Yes.
doing cool things and they're doing things that I also appreciate and think are really awesome. So bias there, but yes, yay, you're here. So what inspired the pivot to digital mental health?
Yeah. Um, it was a values-based decision. And that was that, again, I'd been in private practice. I enjoyed a lot of aspects of it, the flexibility and the autonomy. And I got to really narrow down my clinical niche and focus on populations I was interested in and trainings and, all of those really great benefits of private practice. And I was in a partnership where both of us, am in a partnership where both of us were freelancing essentially. And so it came down to really more about what do we want for our life beyond work in the moment and things like wanting better health insurance in the middle of a pandemic and wanting to buy a home and those kinds of things really kind of shifted to, okay, who has a straighter pathway to thinking about moving into something different. And so, honestly, that was the biggest reason. I wanted to shift into something that allowed us to meet more of our other goals in life.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. I mean, that's what the series is all about, is opening up possibility of you don't have to do just one thing. You can always pivot.
Mhm.
Has there
Absolutely.
been something that's been particularly rewarding? I imagine there's lots of things, but something worth highlighting that's been rewarding in your pivot?
Yeah. I really liked the community of kind of being in an organization again. Even though we're completely remote, I've never met most of my coworkers, and none of my clients because it's all telehealth all the time. It definitely has been rewarding to just get to connect with people again on a regular basis, and I think just be a part of something bigger, bigger mission and a bigger innovation. I think that's one benefit of digital mental health where there, is a lot of space for innovation and a lot of space to like make changes more quickly than what we're typically used to in traditional parts of the industry.
That's a good point. Absolutely. On the flip side, is there something that would be more challenging that you would want viewers to consider if they look into digital mental health?
Yeah. I think that is also the pitfall. Things can change quickly in startups, in startup culture. And so, I think the biggest thing to be aware of is if you're looking into digital mental health, is it a reputable company? And I know that sounds very basic, but it's pretty true in this part of the field because it's still very much emerging.
Right.
And so there are probably many people have heard some horror stories about seemingly bright and beautiful mental health startups that didn't have ethical practices or were growing way too fast and didn't make it sustainable. And so I think that's really important if you're wanting to jump in this part of the field. I'm grateful to
Absolutely.
have avoided that pitfall, but it totally could have happened.
Well, yeah, and I appreciate you naming that there are so many different startups that have a mental health focus, and they're all at different stages, right? So some are
Mhm.
established and doing really well and can actually, have a solidified plan for the people that work under them, and others
Right.
are still trying to get those funds secured. So there's a little bit more risk involved, I would think, to partner with them at that young stage. So I think that's really important for viewers to consider is like, where are they in the evolution of being a startup or a digital mental health company?
It
So
really
that's
is.
great.
And it makes a difference in what you can receive, I guess, really. Compensation and benefits, those kinds of things, right? The younger
Mhm.
startups can be great if you want to tack on some extra hours, as a contractor, 1099, versus if you want it to be your full time, you want a W-2 position. So yeah, those are all definitely things to be discerning about if you're looking at
Absolutely.
them.
Do you have any tips for folks who want to go in that direction, how they should get involved or get started?
Yeah, absolutely. I would say the first thing is if you want to put your resume at the top of the list, have more than one license. That is
Wow.
the biggest thing that people are looking for right now, and it really does make a difference. I had 4 or 5 when I started my job, and I got a higher salary for that. And so even like it can absolutely pay off.
Mm-hmm.
And so if that's something that you're interested in, it definitely is. You're going to need to have more than one license realistically in this space. And the other thing is message people who work at these companies and ask them. I've had several people that I didn't know at all message me out of the blue, asking me what it was like to work there and all those kinds of questions. And I am totally good at that. I love that. And I really appreciate people asking. And so don't be afraid to do that.
I love that. Wonderful. How can people get in touch with you if they want to have a more intimate conversation about what you're up to in the digital mental health space?
Yeah. So one would just be to go to my website. It is ivoryandpine.com. And that is my private practice. And so now my supervision practice, I guess. Ivory and Pine all spelled out. And you can contact me easily through there. I also am on Instagram, Ivory and Pine _counseling. And you can just email me directly as well. But probably the easiest way to do that's through the website.
Yeah, always loved your practice name. So I love that it's easy to remember, it's easy to spell. It'll be here below the video, all good things.
Thank you. Yes, thank you.
Awesome. Well, what's one final thought you have for our viewers who are considering this pivot into digital mental health?
I think it is don't be afraid of something new. There's a lot of interesting benefits to digital mental health, like working from home permanently and flexible PTO and some of the tech benefits, quite honestly, that if you're used to community mental health, if you're used to the traditional side of the field, to hospitals, et cetera, these benefits are going to seem wild. And you deserve that as therapists. So I would say don't be afraid to jump in.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much for your expertise, Laura. Like, I know that a lot of people have questions. I'm sure this is just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to highlighting the good, the bad, the ugly, the exciting.
Yeah.
So hopefully people will be able to reach out to you with more questions if they have them. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
You bet. Well, viewers, stay tuned for more amazing therapist entrepreneurs in our series. We'll see you next time.